Hello and welcome to the channel. So, even more fun with AI in music today. And everyone's favourite big green friend, Spotify, is now getting involved and experimenting with how AI can impact their platform. As if it hasn't already. As if there isn't already, literally thousands upon thousands of hours of AI music in their platform already. But no, they're doing something this time which actually is quite interesting. So I've done a couple of videos about AI in music recently, which are much more focused on the label side and the kind of artist side. There's links to those in the description below if you want to check them out. But today, Spotify has launched its testing. And just because something's being tested doesn't mean it's actually going to happen. But they're currently testing in New Zealand, I think, the concept of AI prompted playlists. So what does this mean, right? The concept here, without having seen it, there's some kind of images out there about it. But the way this works is that you go to open like Discover Weekly or whatever, and you type into Spotify as you would ChatGPT, and you tell it that you would like music for the beach or music for my running playlist, or maybe you go into a little bit more detail than that. Maybe you say, I want something that sounds like a hybrid of Taylor Swift and Metallica. I don't really know. I don't know how well it's going to work, but the idea being that you prompt Spotify to create a playlist for you based on your suggestions, what you're feeling in the moment, and what you would like. Then what it does is it generates this based on the data that it has within its system, similar artists, keywords. I don't know how it does it, but it does it, right? So there's a lot of fear and negativity around AI in the music space generally, right? People generally don't like it. But I've got to say, this is a good thing. This is a good thing for, I think, pretty much everyone, except maybe playlist editors whose roles and responsibilities seem to be diminishing a little bit. But for everyone else, whether you're an independent artist, a major label artist, or a record label or whoever, this could be a really good thing, and I'll explain why. Spotify's algorithm and other DSP algorithms, right, are your friend. They're useful, they're good. Because if you know how to work them and you know what you're doing, they're an incredibly powerful way of reaching more fans, right? And the great thing about algorithmic playlists like Radio, Discover Weekly, Mixes, Release Radar, all of those, is that you're not reliant on Spotify's editors. You're not reliant on your distributor pitching your song for you. You're not reliant on your Spotify for Artists pitch reaching editors. You're not relying on just bad luck and that was a busy week that week and there was 5 other releases like yours that got chosen instead. You're not at the whim of other human beings with algorithms, right? So Spotify moving more in this direction is a good thing, right? This is a good thing. Imagine the music industry 40 years ago, right? The only way that you could have a successful song is if radio played your music, right? If some radio producers sat in a room with your CD in front of them and decided, sure, let's give it some plays. And that was a decision made by a room full of about 8 people, right? Imagine if instead of those 8 people making decisions purely based on their own personal bias, what record label these artists are signed to, how much they've been paid off, or which artist they think is the most fit. Imagine if instead of those people making decisions, what went on the radio was based on mass consumer data, which fed back useful information, which informed how well songs did and how well songs performed, right? That is what this could be. Spotify's algorithmic playlists take Spotify from being a dictatorship, which is decision makers at the very top who you're very lucky if you're able to go on their radar, to a meritocracy. The algorithm is a meritocracy, right? It doesn't care what record label you signed to. It doesn't care what you look like. It doesn't care how many social media followers you have. And you can hack this. You can put yourself in a position to be picked up within Spotify's algorithm by just doing the right things. So without knowing exactly how this works yet, here's some kind of tips and takeaways of things that you can do to make sure that you're in the best position for when this happens, right? Because I do think this will happen. The first thing I would say is make sure that your artist page, your profile, is sort of audited correctly. Maybe put some genre keywords in your artist bio. That might help. So if you're a house music artist, put house music all over your artist bio. Make sure that Spotify's algorithms know this is a house music artist. The next thing that I would do is really focus as best as you can on thematic playlists. What do I mean by this? So the difference between a music-focused playlist and a thematic playlist is one playlist might be called Indie Folk Rising. Another playlist might be called Campfire Songs. I'll give you another example. One playlist might be called House Music 2025. Another playlist might be called Music for the Gym. The thematic playlists are going to become so important now, I think, because they're going to inform what people are searching for. I'm recording this right now in December, okay? Christmas playlists. Perfect thematic playlist, right? So what are people searching for right now? They're searching Christmas playlist for the office, right? So being on thematic playlists that are suitable for you as an artist is going to be really important. So the one negative I would say about this is that I do think artists on the fringes of genres and who are doing stuff which isn't quite able to be categorized into a box are going to suffer here, even more than they already have. Because if you make music which is a little bit dancey, but it's a little bit indie, it's got a bit of ska in there, but the vocalist is like a grime artist, then this is not good for you. You're the ones who are going to kind of lose out on this, unfortunately. Because the one thing I would say is that Spotify's algorithms do like to put people in a box. They do like to be like, you're a singer-songwriter, you're a house artist, you're a pop artist, you know what I mean? So that does make it a little bit more difficult for you guys, I would say. But if that is you guys, and if that is where the kind of thing that you do, maybe have a think about whether a platform like Spotify is where you should be spending the majority of your efforts. Do you see what I mean? Maybe your fan base is better found on sort of SoundCloud or Bandcamp or some of the more niche kind of music spaces. But yeah, interesting. I think not much Spotify does anymore makes me feel warm or fuzzy inside. But I do genuinely think this could be good.